Hi guys, and let's talk today about this lens. I hope you can see. This is TTArtisan 75mm 1.5 f-stop, and this is, let's call it, new bokeh king, as some people describe the older version or the original version of this lens. But before that, I need to say a small disclaimer. This lens is lent to me by TTArtisan Poland, which is company Interphoto in Warsaw. They are official distributor of TTArtisan in Poland. And they kindly lent me this lens to test for you guys and to make this video. But unfortunately, I need to give them back this lens. This lens is based on the card-size Biotar, and that original lens started its journey as cinema lens, but many still shooters love how the old lens renders the images, how it blurs the background, and how it produces the swirls, so they start to use it for sessions. The old card-size Biotar was made in 3 versions, and this TTArtisan is based on the last third version of card-size Biotar. This is rather vintage style lens. This is not new type of lens. Of course, this is new lens, so this is multi-coated. The glass is very nice. The build quality is amazing. This is made of metal and glass, fully of metal and glass, but this is old type of design, so this lens is not clinic. It's not extra sharp in the full space of our photos, so corners are a little bit less sharp when we are using the lens on more open. So yes, if you are fan of extra clinic, extra sharp lens in the full space of your frame, this is not the lens for you. This lens is old style lens. As you can see, we have coatings visible. So this is old style lens. This have this 3D pop, and the center sharpness of this lens is very nice, and then it's blurred and less sharp, almost buttery smooth all the way to the edges. Of course, if you stop down this lens, it will be sharp from center to the corners, but still, if we want to shoot this wide open, it's sharp only in the center. Original version of this lens can cost you up to 3,800 euros, with the average price around 1,200 euros. Depend on conditions and mount of this lens, because original lens was in many different mounts. This one is M42. Of course, if you want to buy the original version of this lens from eBay, you need to be prepared to get lens with fungus or haze, or both, or with none. This is the eBay game that you need to be prepared if you want to buy the original, not this TTArtisan. The lens is quite heavy lens. This is 600 grams, because as I told you, this is fully made of metal with glass lenses inside. And as I told you earlier, this is M42 mount, so we can adapt this lens to almost any camera that we want. If you are a Nikon shooter, the F-mount Nikon shooter, then you have a problem. Okay, you can buy adapters that allow you to use it to infinity, but they have glass element that probably will degrade your quality of the image. So it's better to use adapters without the glass element, but then you need to be prepared that the lens won't be focusing to infinity. But let's be honest, will you shoot this lens at infinity? Probably not. You will just shoot portraits with this lens, because this is amazing portrait lens that should be in your bag, and you don't need to use it on the infinity. So let's stick to the portraits, wide open or little bit closed down, and just forget about infinity. and you will be okay. But still, if you are a Nikon shooter, just go to your nearest TTArtisan distributor or shop where you can buy it and test this lens with your camera. This both caps, back and front, are made of metal, and both of them are screw-in mount. So you screw this one and you screw the back. So yeah, great all metal design. But let's talk more about this lens. This is prime lens with fixed focal length of 75mm. I shoot 2 different sessions with this lens, but what I can say more, because of having Leica as my main 35 camera, I just like better the 75mm instead of 85mm. Because of how this renders images, I will still consider of buying it just as an extra lens for extra occasions, to shoot few extra images for my clients or just for me. So as I told you, we have great center sharpness, we have nice out of focus corners, and we have swirls. This lens, or maybe the original lens on which this is replicating, was known because of swirls, and this lens can also swirl. And because this is Biotar design, we have 6 elements in 4 groups. Filter size of this lens is 58. The aperture of this lens is 13 rounded blades, so it's more than the original version, because the third version on which this is based have 10 to 12 blades. This one is 13, so one more. And because these blades are rounded, then we have very smooth bokeh. If you shoot this lens on digital, then it's not your problem, you don't even notice this problem. But if you shoot like me on film camera, then there is small problem. This lens don't have auto aperture mechanism like this lens. This TTArtisan lens have the auto aperture, so when we screw this to the camera and we set our aperture, for example, to f8, it's still fully open, and it's closing to f8 only just before taking picture. So if you want to take the picture, it's closing to f8 just before taking picture, and you can still compose and focus with fully open aperture. And with this lens, which don't have the auto aperture mechanism, it's preset type of mechanism. If you close down to f8, you see, you have f8 now, and you need to focus and compose on f8, which on the mirrorless cameras is nothing to worry about, because your EV or your screen will just compensate and you are okay. But for example, this type of camera cannot compensate, and it's harder to find the focus, because the microprism in this camera is working about until f4, maybe 5.6 in better conditions, but still it's hard to nail the focus after 5.6. Few images that you will see from my studio are on f8, and they are just based on the scale focusing of this lens, because I didn't see anything in the viewfinder. So yes, if you want to shoot this lens on film, you probably will shoot it wide open on 1.5, f2, f2.8, maybe f4, but after that, then you need to scale focus. So this is quite bummer, but we cannot do anything about it. Of course, you can always open the aperture, focus and compose, and then close it, but this is an extra step that you need to do. Open, focus, close, shoot. So You can always do this because of the preset mechanism, and I can understand TTArtisan that they made this step and cut costs this way, because this is designed for new mirrorless cameras, so you don't have this problem. That's it. And I understand it. Let's talk about focusing ring. It's very smooth, very precise, and very nice to use. So this is great. If you can see right now on this camera, you see the scale focus is a little bit out of alignment. But TTArtisan made design of this lens that you can change position of this focusing scale. I will show you. I hope you will see it. There are tiny screws like this one here. There is another one here, and third one here. So you can unscrew these 3 screws with Allen key, then rotate this outer casing of this scale on the lens and put it exactly where do you need it. On this Praktika and on my Sony I have the same little bit shifted focal plane, but I know that on some cameras this is totally upside down, so it might be not useful. That's why they made these 3 screws so you can rotate it and place it so you can see it. For me, they don't even have to print it here. Okay, it was nice to have it here because for purpose of this video I tested this lens with closed down apertures, so then I needed this scale to focus this lens, but still for my day-to-day uses I would shoot 50 or 35 if I want to have f11, f16. With portraits I would stick between 4 and 1.5, and especially with this lens I would stick between 1.5 and 2.8 max. Let's talk about price of this lens. This lens is priced at 355 euros, so we can say it's a bargain, because as I told you, if you want to buy the original it's up to 3,800 euros, so more than 10 times of this lens. So you can have 10 of these or 1 original. So I think I would even not bother to look for the original one if I can have this new. As all old lenses, this is vignetting wide open, but vignette is disappearing about f2, and yeah, that's everything about the vignette. As I told you, this lens have very creamy out of focus areas, just melted like a butter, and that's its big advantage of this lens. It melts everything in the background, battery smooth as I told you, but if you stop down it to f2, the sharp area starts to be big enough so you won't miss the focus. Of course you always can miss the focus, but it's sharp enough to be easy to use, because for some people 1.5 could be hard to nail the focus. This lens probably have some chromatic aberrations, but as a film shooter I just don't care. I think there is one more thing that I'm not a big fan when we are talking about this lens. The aperture changes between the clicks from 1.5 to 5.6 with half stop, and from 5.6 until f16 we have full stops. I don't like this idea and this design. I would love to have half stop clicks all the way. or only full stops all the way. But still, clicks are very satisfying and very, I think you can hear them, I hope. They are nice, clicky and very tactile and satisfying. So yeah, clicks are nice, I just don't like how they are implemented. So let's do sum up of this lens. I really like it. I like the build quality of this lens. Form is very nice. Even with adapter, it's still middle size lens. Price is better than good, because in the extremes you can buy 10 of these instead of one original. In average, you can still buy almost 3 of these in price of the original, so still this is a bargain. Image quality that this lens produces is more than good, with this 3D pop that we don't see in the new type of lenses. So yes, this is not so clean and flawless lens as new ones. Maybe that's why I like it so much, because I like the vintage kind of lenses, so this one is more suited to my style of shooting. I very like how this lens melts the background or swirl the background, depends on f-stop and kind of background and how we stand with our model, because this lens swirls only, I think, up to 2.8. After 2.8 it won't swirl. I don't shoot it too much, so I think yes, this is only between 1.5 and 2.8, but maybe not. It needs to be verified and tested more. But of course you can prefer the original card size Biotar. I can understand it, but this is your own problem. I just really would love to have this lens for my own. I would not use it probably on daily basis, but I would love to have it sitting in my bag, waiting for special occasion, special place, some nice light, nice background to swirl it or just to melt it. I just need to talk with TTArtisan if they really need this copy of this lens, or did I can just lose it in my bag. I didn't think that I would like this lens so much when the TTArtisan proposed me to test this lens. I was thinking, okay, 75 portrait lens. I have my I have my Helios 44, but this is 58mm focal length with f2. So okay, this swirls, and this is Zebra Helios, but still this swirls, and I like the 58 instead of 50, but this is 75. This is more tight field of view, more separation from the background. I think this swirls more, and because of having 1.5 instead of f2, this blurs background more. And yeah, and this one I get as a present, and this one I probably would buy, because as I told you, the TTArtisan just lent me this lens, so thank you one more time Interphoto for lending me this lens, and I hope you can give me a discount or something so I can have this lens as well. And for now I think this is it. I hope you like this video. Subscribe to my channel, remember to shoot film, and see you in the next one. Bye guys!